At one point, she was written off as being too attractive to be taken seriously. However, Helen Mirren continued to accomplish the unthinkable, become a dame, win an Oscar, and cause Hollywood to bend down. Few people are aware, however, that she had a troubled background that included forbidden love, eerie childhood memories, and decades of loneliness. From a typical British schoolgirl with Russian ancestry, Helen showed extraordinary bravery when she took the stage at the Royal Shakespearean play. She went on to dominate Hollywood with roles that stunned viewers and defied expectations. What will the unprecedented rare picture show? See the complete, unvarnished picture of this courageous woman by continuing to watch. On July 26, 1945, Helen Mirren was born at Queen Charlotte's and Chelsea Hospital in London's Hammersmith district. Her mother, Kathleen, was a modest, grounded, and distinctly English working-class woman from West Ham. On the other hand, her father, Vasily Petrovich Mironov, was descended from prominent Russian individuals and belonged to the Russian nobility. In a relatively affluent intellectual and economic setting, my father was born in Russia. She once claimed that his family had benefited from all the advantages of aristocracy, including riches, rank, and respect for both influence and education. However, it was completely destroyed during the Russian Revolution. They gave up all to survive: years of inheritance, opulent estates, cherished medals, and refugees who fled to England. Helen remembered her father as always being cool under pressure. However, the man behind those blue eyes had witnessed the fall of an entire dynasty. Thus, Helen grew up like any other typical girl in London, attending school, supporting her mother, and hearing her father talk about Russia in a quiet, almost distant voice. However, she was always restless, as though there was a secret door to her fate just waiting to be unlocked. She was first introduced to theater through her leading part in the straightforward school play Hansel and Gretel, rather than a lavish production. Her family did not, however, view the arts as a secure career choice. After seeing years of political unrest, her father desired for his daughter to have a safe future. In order to reassure her parents, Helen decided to pursue a career in teaching. Her heart, however, was never found in textbooks. When she was 18 and happened to see a staging of Hamlet in a tiny town, everything changed. She was awakened by the actor's delivery of each line. She came to the realization that she could no longer avoid her calling. She applied to the National Youth Theater in defiance of expectations. She got admitted because of her innate talent and an uncommon amount of seriousness for her age. 2 years later, Helen took the stage as Cleopatra, a part that even seasoned actors take very carefully. It was more than just a discovery. It was evidence that she had made the correct decision. She was quickly discovered by Al Parker, a talent agent, who offered to represent her. She quickly made her way into the realm of classical theater under his tutelage. She learned Shakespeare as a second language. From All's Well That Ends Well to The Two Gentlemen of Verona, Helen focused on perfecting each breath, turn, and emotional pulse. However, talent doesn't necessarily result in immediate fame. Helen had to settle for little parts, few lines, and brief on-screen appearances when she made the switch to film. Herost Stratus, Press for Time, and other publications featured her. Despite her gratitude for the effort, she was unable to get rid of the sensation of being torn between two different universes. Not fashionable enough to attract Hollywood's notice, yet too talented for the stage. Helen once went to a palm reader in the hopes of discovering a code for her destiny because of her overpowering sense of powerlessness. However, he asked her to take notes, made only hazy forecasts, and eventually failed to provide her with any concrete answers. One thing became evident to Helen when she tore the paper to bits and tossed it in the garbage. Her fate was not predetermined. Helen Mirren would be the architect of her own destiny. She persevered through the difficult 1970s with that attitude. Helen worked with unwavering discipline, continuously accepting roles, studying, and overcoming the stigma of being a theatrical actor, attempting to make the move to film. The big break eventually arrived in 1980, The Protracted Good Friday. Helen portrayed the wife of a criminal boss in the movie, a role that most females at the time would have performed as a decorative figure supporting a strong guy. Helen, however, took a different tack. Astute, cunning, and devoted, yet never feeble. Her persona served as the mafia empire's second brain in addition to being a wife. Audiences couldn't take their eyes off it because of that bite and freshness. Critics immediately praised Helen Mirren as one of the most captivating actors in Europe at the time of the film's enormous popularity. At last, she had emerged from the shadow of the stage and into the enormous realm of film. However, brightness and darkness are always mixed together in life. Her father died that same year before he could see his daughter become famous. For Helen, it was a moment of mixed emotions. On the one hand, career success. On the other, an agonizing emptiness. The The long Good Friday's triumph did more than only lead to new career opportunities. She also started a new chapter in her personal life as a result. She got to know Irish actor Liam Neeson on the set of Excalibur. Neeson was still trying to make a name for himself, but Helen was already a rising star. They clicked right away, and off-screen their relationship took off. Just as her career was taking off, Helen's usual generosity even helped Neeson obtain an agent, which was a significant turning point in his career. However, there are always difficulties associated with Hollywood celebrity. Helen started dabbling with cocaine, a glamorous habit that was prevalent in celebrity circles at the time amid the chaos of her growing career. Wild parties were nothing new to her, but soon recreational use started to turn into something worrisome. The pivotal moment occurred when she discovered that the infamous Nazi torturer Klaus Barbie had amassed wealth through cocaine trafficking. She was terrified by the revelation. She vowed then and there to never use drugs again. No high was worth indirectly adding to the sinister legacy of a creature like Barbie, in her opinion. As she entered her 40s, a time when many actresses start to notice unseen fissures in their careers, Helen Mirren entered the stage with composed assurance of a self-aware individual. This was her second golden age, one that was only accessible to those who were resilient enough to resist Hollywood's snares. Helen was sharper, harder, and more driven than ever at that age. She didn't wait for parts to come her way. She actively pushed open doors to chances that a youth-focused business typically shied away from. Helen viewed every offer as a challenge to overcome, but many actresses of her generation quietly slid away from the spotlight because they could not find significant roles. She took on parts that producers thought audiences would never relate to, unmarketable roles and harsh characters. Entering challenging, uncomfortable territory came naturally to Helen. She had never accepted Hollywood's restrictions on women. Then destiny played the part that made all the difference. In Prime Suspect, Jane Tennyson plays Detective Chief Inspector. A lot of people questioned whether a lady in her 40s could handle a serious, gritty crime series in 1991, when the subject was still being discussed in production rooms. However, Helen realized right away that this was her opportunity to pursue her lifelong passion. Break stereotypes. Tennyson was not intended to be a polished heroine who would adorn the film. She was tough but frequently worn out, strong yet vulnerable, calm under duress but hurt by loneliness. As though gazing into a mirror, Helen found herself captivated to her. A woman struggling in a male-dominated setting, continuously questioned about her suitability. Helen vehemently objected to any attempts to soften the persona throughout preparation. She would not allow Tennyson to be reduced to a more agreeable form that would be tolerated by male viewers. When she informed the writers, "If she's in pain, we need the audience to see that pain. If she is treated unfairly, we need to show that injustice so clearly that no one can deny it." Production was stressful because of the position. Helen was battling, not only performing, and she used Prime Suspect as a platform to fight for women's representation on television. Viewers were immediately drawn into Jane Tennyson's world when the episode premiered. The character made no effort to be likable. She merely experienced the unvarnished reality of what an actual female police had to deal with. Isolation in a room full of guys, dismissive meetings, and silent derision. Tennyson made listeners face an unpleasant reality. Women don't naturally possess power. Blood, tears, and innumerable acts of perseverance must be used to fight for it. Success swept in like a tempest. Generations of strong female characters were made possible by the series, which became a cultural phenomenon. Helen won her first Emmy and was praised all over the world. But the painful reality she saw was not obscured by pride. In the industry she worked in, the same obstacles she revealed on film persisted. She didn't give up, though. Helen developed the role more with each subsequent season, making viewers face the real-life difficulties faced by women in demanding authoritarian workplaces. Tennyson was not intended to be flawless. Her existence served as a reminder to the world that women over 40 are not confined, do not fade, and do not vanish. Her character had to contend with new challenges every season. Helen did the same. She consistently pushes boundaries and refuses to allow her age limit her career. By the late 1990s, Helen received an invitation to play the controversial author herself in the biographical movie The Passion of Ayn Rand. She won another Emmy for the part, which once again demonstrated her ability to play nuanced, emotionally nuanced characters. Many actresses her age were seeing their careers wane, but Helen's courage to take on challenging roles kept her in the spotlight. In the early 2000s, she was approached by filmmaker Stephen Frears for a role that would mark a significant turning point in her career. The Queen, 2006, features Queen Elizabeth II. Helen experienced intense internal struggle as soon as she started reading the screenplay. She had been raised in a home where her father was adamantly opposed to monarchy. The royal family had always seemed to her like an aloof, untransparent power structure. The more she read, though, the more she craved the opportunity to enter the inner world of a lady who billions thought they understood but few actually saw. She took the part as a result. Helen accomplished what many said was impossible in The Queen. She changed a cold, collected, disciplined national icon into a woman torn between her personal anguish and her obligations. Helen expressed the emotional anguish of the days after Princess Diana's death through her breath, her eyes, and every silent moment. Although the character was regarded as minimalist, it conveyed layers of intense passion. Helen won an Academy Award for her nuance, making her one of the few actors who can portray a role so full of political and symbolic significance with complete truthfulness. Ironically, Helen eventually received a dinner invitation from Queen Elizabeth herself, an honor that virtually no actor had ever received, despite her personal and familial conflicts with the monarchy. However, Helen declined in her usual direct manner, stating that she already had other obligations. There was criticism surrounding the decision. While some praised her integrity, others deemed it offensive. The cacophony meant nothing to Helen. After that, she proceeded to play the Queen in a number of projects.